To this crisis, catastrophe, devastation, call it what you will. You've seen the pictures. They are horrific. I came here over a week ago after fairly regular communication with the outstanding local state member, Andrew Constance. And I said to him, I've got to see you and see this. As I've said earlier, it was as if a bomb had been dropped. And the best image I can draw is to say it's like what we saw on TV following the bombing of Iraq. We're at the Bateman Bay Soldiers Club. Beautiful pictures, a renovated modern club, a great spot. It was one of the emergency coordination centres at the height of the bushfire crisis. Communities everywhere here have lost everything. Lake Conjola surrendered 89 homes. Malua Bay, not far from here, a couple of minutes' drive, 300 kilometres south of Sydney, looks as if it had been bombed. And through all of this, power outages crippled communication networks. Residents ran out of petrol. How do you evacuate? And so in New South Wales alone, 25 dead. 2,176 homes or buildings have been destroyed. More than 5 million hectares of land has gone. Australia-wide, 19 million hectares. The entire United Kingdom is only 25 million. The ACT, 48 homes and buildings destroyed. In Queensland, 2,500 hectares of bush gone. In Victoria, 5 people dead and almost 400 homes and outbuildings wiped out. Kangaroo Island, half of the entire island, an area of 170,000 hectares, was destroyed. 30,000 of a 50,000 strong population of koalas was wiped out. National death toll is 39. 2,779 homes have been destroyed. And if it weren't for phenomenal firefighters, paid and volunteers, goodness knows where we'd be. As I've said, the local member here has been phenomenal. He bears a massive burden. And I would have thought that government would be in touch with Andrew Constance every day to see what's happened and what needs to be done. He's here with me, Andrew Constance, and beside him a remarkable story from an obviously remarkable young human being, Anthony Billette. We'll come to him in just a moment, but Andrew Constance, you tell the story. Firstly, the smoke this morning, what was all that about?
Oh, we've still got active fires, and people think that this is over. It's not. Our local community knows it's not over, and it's just treacherous and it won't give up. And everyone's just saying to me, when is this going to end? When is it going to stop?
Tell me when it started and when you first knew you were in trouble.
Well, the Currowan fire started on the 26th of November. So we're now past 2 months.
And it's not out?
No, and it's burnt to the Southern Highlands.
It has, right next to my place.
Yeah, to your boundary.
Yes, to my boundary.
So people have just been, they're traumatised from what happened, and they want to get on with the recovery, but, it just keeps coming and coming.
Is government ringing you every day and saying, Andrew, what do we need? What needs to be done?
Certainly the Deputy Premier and the Premier of New South Wales are, but I just feel at the moment we're trying to take that next step, and there's this rebuild, and there's too much red tape, and we've got to try and work through that. And for me, it's about people who are on their knees being left behind in the hills, west of the highway. They're out on isolated properties.
But Australians listening to you don't want them to be left behind, do they?
That's right.
They've given all of this money, but I talk to people and they've seen none of it.
Yeah, which is why I had a shot across the bow of the Charities last week. I got them in my car on Saturday and said to them, we've got to do better. Australians have given so generously, and there's so much gratitude locally, but unfortunately the funds haven't flowed.
Just go back to that awful time towards New Year's Day. One of the big issues here was the total absence of communication. No mobile phone, no nothing. No one knew where one another were.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in terms of the fire, it wasn't a fire, it was a bomb. And, the reason I got this young guy next to me, in Anthony, he's from the surf club, and he managed hundreds of people out of that surf club. He's too humble to tell everyone what he and the other club members did that day.
No, I struggled to get him here tonight. Just come to you, Anthony, because people were told, and Andrew was telling people, and for the benefit of people at home, the only place that's safe is in the ocean. Go down to the surf club, Malua Bay, Malua Beach, surf club. So they all went and piled in. And so they drove in cars everywhere. And suddenly, the fires across the hill, what were you doing?
You're on the roof.
Yeah, basically just the whole team that we had down there all just come together, and everyone just started sort of heading off in different directions, and there was another surf club from South Australia that was actually there assisting us as well. And the local clubbies, other volunteers, Andrew was there running around, giving us a hand, just getting people down to the sand and just.
But you're
trying
far
to
too
make sure
modest.
they're okay.
That's not the story.
So-
That's not the story. You were hosing the roof, and you were the person who realised, listen, if these people stay inside here, 100 of them, they're gone. The fire will get them. You had to get them out of the surf club, didn't you, onto the beach?
Yeah, we just started directing everybody just down to as a big group, just started directing everybody down to the water's edge. And yeah, the team just spread out, and all the other guys started herding everyone down to the water.
We lost all comms. I mean, the fire had taken a run for early morning, and it ended up the only way it stopped was the ocean. These guys had no comms, couldn't reach other clubs.
And when you say the only place to stop is the ocean, there's a suburb here called Rosedale, isn't it? It's like a Vaucluse or a Toorak or whatever in this part of the world. It's high up, isn't it? Beautiful homes and all the rest of it, and it goes right down to the ocean. There's nothing left.
Yeah, I mean, North Rosedale is a couple of homes. There's 60 homes lost in total in Rosedale. And it's just so sad to see that. And
other little communities, just tell the story, how many have gone? I mean, you've got two shires, haven't you? Eurobodalla Shire and Bega Valley Shire. What, 450 homes gone, raised in one, 350 in another? How do these people start again? They've got no clothes, they've got no money, they've got no food, they've got nothing.
Yeah, well, these are people who live day by day, and they've lost everything. And
they've got a mortgage to pay.
3,000, they've got mortgages, they've got, bills to pay.
But someone says, the federal government, someone in the federal government, not Scott Morrison, had a shot to me today, said, oh, well, it's not true, we're doing something. We're giving small businesses $75,000. Now, it's nice, we're very grateful, but the money has to be given out, hasn't it? I mean, there are volunteers who are protecting other people's homes who've lost their own.
Yeah, I mean, so many fireys lost their homes when they're out protecting other homes, and they come home to nothing. It breaks your heart, and I think we can do better than this. I mean, particularly those people who are out there fighting fires. I've got a mate who lost his home. He come home and he just said, I've been protecting other people's homes for the last 24 hours. He's dead on his feet. But guess what he did the next day? Went straight back out and fought it again. He was fighting it again last Thursday. I mean, these are the people who are unsung heroes, and they're tired, they're exhausted, and this fire's still going.
But it's the management of these parks, isn't it? I mean, as you've made the point, there's council land, Crown land, they don't have any resources, no one's allowed to touch it, you can't get into national parks, there's an inferno out there and it's taken off.
If you're going to debate fuel loads, you've got to actually debate how the land's managed. And to have 4 tiers of bureaucracy from councils, Crown land, who don't have firefighting capacity, state forests and national parks who do have some, and then the RFS over there, and we wonder why it's not working. We've got to look at this.
You and I drove, and Anthony, you've seen it all, but Andrew drove me around here, and you've seen some of the pictures here tonight. Now, I said on air today, and Andrew corrected me and said I was wrong, I said there's most probably 500,000 tonnes of debris that's got to be removed. No one knows how to remove it, no one knows where to go. And you said, no, it's more than that.
Yeah, I reckon probably around 800,000 tonnes of debris, a lot of asbestos in amongst it. And you can't just drop that off at the local tip. In fact, Mayor Innes will tell you, I mean, most of the tips have been on fire in the Eurobodalla, and it's a major logistical exercise, and the government's going to have a head contractor.
And local councils can't afford to do all of this.
No, I mean, that's where state and federal governments step in, and it gives some financial relief to those who've lost everything and those who've lost sheds. But this is a very big undertaking, and this is a scale that the pictures on TV don't do justice. And the pain of it, nobody can see the pain like some of our community leaders are seeing through our people at the moment.
There's still people in the showgrounds at Cobargo, aren't there?
Yeah, there's 17 people living in caravan parks at Cobargo tonight.
I just want to repeat, because we've got to say it over, we've got people over here who've joined us tonight, but people have lost everything, everything. You know, we had dinner last night and I said to the lady sitting next to you, and I said, well, that dress, where did you get the dress from? She said, the dress is my sister's, I borrowed the dress. Do people out there in government understand when they're talking about piddling amounts of $75,000? Do they understand? I mean, we don't want people talking surpluses. It's our money, isn't it? Release the money and start today so that people can rebuild.
Well, we want to make this the best recovery the world's ever seen. And there are things happening, but it's the middle tier bureaucracy who think this is business as usual. It isn't. To get a lake open, to get a home rebuilt, to get the debris cleared, to get people supported through charities, through financial assistance, through government. They've got to get this. And they can't just sit on the end of a hotline or, you know, just come in here and not understand what the pain people are in. I'm very serious about this. If we don't get this right, you know, we're going to continue to lose lives. And I just plead to everybody. We've got John Barilaro running the recovery in New South Wales. Good fella. He's on the right track. We've just got to make sure that we take everyone with us and leave no one behind. And that's the bottom line out of this. I don't care from the Prime Minister down. Everyone needs to know we leave no one behind.
Why wouldn't someone ring each of the banks and say, now look, will you fund the construction at Moja? Will you fund the construction at Malakuta? Will you fund the rebuilding of what? And take village by village and ask these big businesses to get out there and do something. The pictures they saw earlier tonight on the screen, and you and I drove to Mogo today, and I call them black sentinels. They're these charred trees, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're all eucalyptus trees. And I'll be talking to someone on 2GB tomorrow morning because a botanist has said eucalypts are incinerators from hell dressed up as trees. And the forests and the national parks are full of them. And they're the things that remain. You can't destroy them. They are incinerators from hell dressed up as trees. So, you know, there's an inferno out there. We're not finished.
Yeah, I mean, my approach on this at the moment is we've got a humanitarian problem and it's got to get fixed. And that's why I'm focusing on everybody at a community level and not focusing so much on these big debates, but we've got to have them. We have to sort this out. Every single person I've spoken to since these fire events, their question and their statement is things have got to change, and they have to change.
Anthony, you're a young bloke, okay? You stay here, beautiful part of the world. You want to make your life here, your future here. How do the young people feel about all this?
Yeah, look, I guess that's a bit of a tough question. Obviously, we want to make sure that looking into our future, that what we rebuild is something that's going to be, I guess, be protected from, I guess, this in the future. We want to make sure that the lands are all obviously looked after and you know, I guess in the way that we build the new structures. So.
But Andrew, school starts this week. I'm talking to mums and dads, you're talking to mums and dads. They've got no clothes, the kids have got no books, the kids have got nothing. I mean, does anyone understand? You've got to put food on the table tonight. How? You've got to dress the kids tomorrow morning for school. How do you do that?
If you want to get me upset, just all I've got to do is reflect on the Littlies through this. They're traumatised. The schools, you know, where there's been fires go through, it's tough. And we've got some counsellors in there for the next couple of weeks, but we can't lose sight of what our Littlies are going through with this. We just can't. And so, you know, I walked into Cabargo School the other day and lovely mums from Queensland brought backpacks in. There was a row of 30 backpacks there. That's the good thing. And that's what those kids will turn up to, despite most of them losing a home and their Christmas presents and everything else, and seeing mum and dad tortured. I mean, our farmers, I mean, I've got a mate who's just lost 95% of his breeders. And a family who's been devastated by such loss, and the Solway family. One of the little kids was out fencing a couple of days later. You know, and he's not even a teenager. So, look, I mean, listening to Anthony, I mean, we've got enormous hope and we've got to rebuild and we've got to make this the best recovery, but we just can't forget what our kids are going through.
They need money now, Andrew.
That's right. No, that's
now.
Right. And
now, today. I mean, this man is one of the most senior figures in government in New South Wales. And he's banging his head against the wall. Gladys, Dominic Perrottet, come on. Open up the purse strings. Ring up Josh Frydenberg. Josh Frydenberg, I know you're watching, wondering if you're going to be mentioned. Josh, they need money, Josh. It's our money. It's not yours. It's our money. Australians don't want to be converted into beggars. And at the moment, they're beggars. It's a desperate situation. Local councils can't afford it.
I don't think anyone can afford this, and I just think this is going to be years of healing. But, you know, I will absolutely say this. The way in which Shane Fitzsimmons and Gladys have worked together have really saved the day. I mean, talk about homes lost, and we've lost 3,000 buildings in my electorate, 900 homes. But I tell you what, I mean, the number of saves by the decisions that Shane has
And
made in the
lives.
RFS, and lives. And I mean, we should have lost hundreds of lives.
Well, he saved 100.
I mean, we saw people on the beach huddled in sand dunes, dogs,
Choking. Couldn't breathe.
horses, and a fire front that just hit that village like there was no tomorrow.
Well, Australians, what do you reckon? If what these two have said isn't enough to move us, nothing will. We've just got to rely on the humanitarian instincts of those who run our country to make sure the right thing is done.